Well, hello and happy Tuesday night Bible study. Everybody, hope you guys are doing terrific. Here we go again, yet another week in our study in Exodus. Today we're in chapter 33. So if you're a person that turns in your own Bible or your app or whatever, we'll be in 33, Exodus chapter 33. But as always, I'll have the text up on the screen for you. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's been crazy here. Last week at this time, it was like 90 degrees. There's been crazy weather here. We had hail earlier, big giant raindrops, sideways wind, monsoon. Looked like the storm that sunk the boat on Gilligan's Island. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good week. Today, in just a minute, we're going to jump in. So do me a favor. If you're here, go over to the comment section. Let me know that you were here. I'll be there to check that out in just a second. Let me make sure everything is closed here. Shutting down my email. A couple other deals. All right, good. Looks like we're okay. Make sure my Bible app is open, and it is good. All right. Last week I had a little bit of trouble with that sucker. So anyway, guys, hope that everything is going terrific. Let's see who has showed up so far. Faith and Grant, good to see you guys. Glad that you're here. What's happening, Peggy and Richard? And Gino and Tammy, good to have you. Penny, hello and happy Tuesday. Be safe. Like that. Lauren, you sweet, sweet girl. Good to see you. Happy Tuesday to you. Greg, good to see you, buddy. Bruce signed in. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Deb, what's happening? Hello, hello. So good to see you back at church. All right, Judy, what's going on? Glad to have you with us. And John, good evening to you. Hope you're doing well, man. I don't know what the weather's been like for you, but it looks like I'm looking at the thing right now. It looks like Oklahoma and Texas and maybe parts of Missouri were getting just knocked all over the place in the last week or so with tornadoes. So I hope you guys are doing okay. All right, you guys, as people continue to come on in, let me just do something really quick here. And that is to tell you that today is the day that in the book of Exodus, they're going to leave Mount Sinai. And then there's a couple of strange little things that happen after that should be interesting to everybody. And so there's three little movements tonight, but I'm only going to ask questions about two of them. The first one, we're not going to really talk about questions because it's being told that it's time to go to the promised land and head in that direction, that sort of thing. So we will check that out in just a minute. A couple more people. What's happening? Janelle, hope you and John are doing good. Darla, good to have you. And my favorite guitar repair man, hope he's doing good. George of the jungle. And there he is. What's happening, buddy? Good to have you. All right. Anyway, as people continue to move in here, let's do this. You know what? I'm going to change my mind on that. I'm going to actually jump over to the Bible for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and the reason why is, okay, and it doesn't want to work. Give me just a second. I got to reopen my Bible app. I do not know why it does this to me sometimes, but what are you going to do? Okay, almost done here. Exodus 33. Bing, bong, bang, it's boomerang. All right, let's try that again. Let's see if it actually works this time. Sometimes you use this junk, you pay for it, and it makes you mad. There you go. All right. Looks like it may be okay. All right, Exodus chapter 33. And my little marker is working. Okay, check this out, guys. This is going to set up everything, the first 6 verses. So look at this with me, if you would. Then the Lord said to Moses, leave this place. And they're on Mount Sinai. They've got the 10 Commandments not too long ago. And you'll see, if you remember last week, Moses came down. And they were worshiping a golden calf. There was all kinds of like crazy, naked, stupid stuff going on with all the people. And Moses got mad and he broke the stone tablets. Don't want to say plates. He broke the stone tablets that had the 10 Commandments, busted them on the ground. He got so mad at them. Anyway, he prayed for them, interceded, and several thousand died, and then the rest moved on. So now they're getting ready to leave Mount Sinai. So then the Lord, Yahweh, said to Moses, leave this place. It's Mount Sinai. You and the people you brought up out of Egypt and go up to the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying I will give it to your descendants. Guys, that place that sometimes is referred to as Palestine, that place in that area. It's actually Israel. It's been there a long time, much longer than that name has been around Palestine. And this land was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and the descendants of them thousands of years ago. Not hundreds, not even 1,000 years ago, thousands plural of years ago. Long, long time before you saw anything like the Philistines, which is eventually where you get the Romanized version of Philistine, which is Palestine. All right, verse 2, I will send an angel before you to drive out the Canaanites, the ites. It's always not good. The Canaanites, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Wow. I've never liked ites, but anyway, almost all of them in the Old Testament are not good. It's not all of them, but most of them. All right, verse 3, go up to the land flowing with milk and honey. You probably heard this before. It's a metaphor for a very fertile place that will always give you everything that you need. He says here, but I will not go with you. God is ticked off. This has to do with what I explained last week when I did the whole fan routine and I showed you the napkin blowing in with the fan. If I have to go into that later, I might. Anyway, but God says, I will not go with you because you are a stiff-necked people, and I might destroy you on the way. Let me really quick, stiff-necked. I tried to explain that bunches of times, and I'm sure you guys get tired of it, but look what the NLT says. You're a stubborn and rebellious people. That's exactly what it means. To be stiff-necked, again, just to give you that metaphor, what they're using, a stiff-necked people is a group of people that are bullheaded, hard-headed, stubborn, arrogant, prideful. The idea is that if you had a bull or a horse or some type of piece of livestock in front of you, and let's say you're trying to steer that animal to pull a cart or to pull some kind of a wagon or to make it go through a field to plow something, if it was stubborn and did not want to turn, but you wanted to turn it, so you pulled the reins, you jerked the reins, they just flex their neck and they don't turn their neck. In other words, you're not going to move me. I'm going to be stubborn. That's what it means to be a stiff-necked people. It's an old Jewish metaphor. And God says, you are a stubborn, stinky people, stiff-necked people, and I might destroy you on the way. Now, verse 4 says, when the people heard these distressing words, they began to mourn, and no one put on any ornaments. Now, some of your translations might say jewelry. I don't want you to get the wrong idea here. The ornaments that they're talking about are not necessarily, it does not mean that you cannot put on your necklace or your earring or your headband or your wrist watch or your finger, like your rings. It's not what it means. Number one, this was a temporary ban for adornments, but specifically the adornments that they were wearing. If you do the study on the actual word that's used in the Hebrew here, the adi, which adi is something that generally is worn for religious ritual. It's that type of a you could say jewelry, but people get the wrong idea. You think of a wedding ring, or you think of earrings, or you think of necklace. That's not what it is, because adi in Hebrew is the type of ornamentation you would use in a religious ritual. And if you remember, Moses just came back to them having a religious ritual, worshiping a golden calf, and everyone was having physical, as Bill Clinton would say, relations together. So with that being said, yes, take that stuff off. So anyway, it does not mean, just don't think that it means you can't wear your ring or your earrings or your necklace, because that's not what it means. Verse 5, for the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. I just told you what that means. If I were to go with you even for a moment, I might destroy you. Now take off your ornaments and I will decide what to do with you. So the Israelites stripped off their ornaments at Mount Horeb. Now Horeb and Sinai are the same mountain. They're two names for the exact same mountain. It's the mountain of God. So Sinai and Horeb, if you ever see those things, they are the exact same thing. Okay. Now we're going to get into what's called the tent of meeting. This will eventually become what's called the tabernacle. And eventually what we will call it is something even different. We will call the meeting in there, we will call it the synagogue. And so this word will transform over the next, couple thousand years. So the tent of meeting is the original term that Moses would use for a specific tent that he puts up outside of the camp. So everybody has their tents that they dwell in, like a Bedouin, like sheep herder or shepherd. But this specific tent was put outside the camp, and only Moses goes in there, and that's when the presence of God shows up like a big cloud, and he speaks to Moses face to face. So we'll get to the tent of meeting in just a minute, but let's start with, I have the first question for you, but let me see who all showed up. All right, Tim says, howdy, dodging cicadas and hailstones. Yeah, watch out for that stuff. Pat Baker, hope you're doing good. And where are you guys at this week? You're not in New Lenox anymore. I think they're back in Memphis. I think you're in Memphis. Okay. Lauren, can you make the text a little bit? Yes. As a matter of fact, I can. Let me do that right now. Let me see if I can make that bigger and if it'll cooperate. Yeah. All right. Made it bigger, sweetheart. When you see it again, it should be better. Linda, hey, good to see you. Hope you and Dennis are doing well. All right. So first question of the night, guys, is this. It's going to have to do with the tent of meeting where Moses goes to talk to God. So I'm going to ask everyone here to participate. Question number one, what is your favorite place to pray? And then when is your favorite place? Never mind. I have to edit this. When is your favorite time? There we go. All right, boom. Let me try it again. Where is your favorite place to pray? And what's your favorite time to pray? Do you have a favorite time, or do you just now and then you pray like for dinner, or you say grace, or do you have conversational prayer like in your car on the way to work, or do you pray in the morning? Do you pray in the evening? I don't know. That's the question. Where's your favorite place to pray? And then what is your favorite time to pray? And as always, I have a couple of things here to push you in the right direction. Some people, like this is a cute one. These beautiful little ones are praying before they eat their meal. They're grateful. Some people, depending on the tradition that you're involved in, this is called laying prostrate. Prostrate, not prostate. I used to get those two mixed up all the time. Prostate, you know what that is. This is laying down like this is called prostrate with an R, prostrate. And what it means to lay prostrate is to get down as low as you can on the ground before a king or an emperor or a queen or some type of royalty. But we do it before God. And this is like the ultimate, there is no lower that you can get besides what's called laying prostrate. And that means to lower yourself to the ground as flat as you can. Now, this guy clearly probably has some back problems and you don't want to crash his face into the marble floor. So he's using one of those fancy pillows. But the idea here is to lay as flat on the ground as you can to emphasize the royalty that you're speaking to, i.e. God in this particular case. Some people pray like this. These are Muslims. They pray 5 times a day. Wherever they're at, they drop down to their little prayer rug. They don't wear shoes. Notice their feet. Yuck. But anyway, they don't wear shoes because Exodus chapter 3, when Moses meets God at the burning bush, he says, take your sandals off. Where you're standing is holy ground. That's where they get that from. So they take their shoes off, their sandals or their shoes, and they leave them outside their mosque, which is their version of our church or the Hebrew, the Jewish synagogue. And then they squat down and onto their prayer rug, and they kneel and they bow their head to the ground toward Mecca 5 times a day. So that's how they pray. Then there's people that pray using different trinkets and different sort of ritualistic items, depending on the type of a background you come from. You may be familiar with this kind of a thing. Then you have, and this should be familiar to anyone who's ever been to a Pentecostal church or a charismatic church, you have like, the dog pile up by the altar. This is what we used to call opening up the altar. A couple of churches, specifically one, Lakeside, that we served in for many, many years. They used to always during worship, man, quote, open up the altar. People would just smush forward toward the stage. We call it the altar. And they would just big piles of people like that. And they're laying hands and praying and that sort of thing. So that's a way certain other people pray. There's a couple more for you. This is a cute one where a mom is teaching the baby how to pray. You say your prayers at night. Probably Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. And if I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Many of you have heard that before. And then the last one, no, I got a couple more here. This one I love. This is the Weeping Wall. It's the Western Wall in Jerusalem. That's part of what's left over from the original temple, Solomon. That's one of the only still standing walls from 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, long time ago. And you'll notice about head level, shoulder level, that the stone is dark. That's from thousands, plural, of years of people leaning up against it, touching it with their hands and touching it with their foreheads. That's thousands of years, literally millennia of people leaning onto those blocks. That's why it's dark there where you see their heads, and it's light above it. And then the last one, if you've ever seen the movie War Room, raise them up, Lord! Raise them up, Lord! Maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. If you see that movie, you know what I mean when that old lady goes, raise them up, Lord! So anyway, people pray in all kinds of different ways. And with that being said, the question still remains, where is your favorite place that you like to pray? Maybe you don't have a favorite place, but if you do, share it. And when is your favorite time to pray? Maybe you don't have a favorite time, but some of you do. So I'm going to ask you to share that. So let me go to the text while you guys are writing your answers. And I'll go to the text as we see that Moses is going to meet with the Lord. All right. Now, Moses used to take a tent and pitch it outside the camp some distance away, calling it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of Yahweh, the Lord, would go to the tent of meeting outside the camp. Verse 8, whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people rose and stood at the entrances of their tents, watching Moses until he entered the tent, which is the tent of meeting. Now, as Moses went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and stay at the entrance, while Yahweh, the Lord, spoke with Moses. So God's presence is literally there. They could see it. Verse 10, whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, they all stood and worshiped, each at the entrance of their own tent. And verse 11 says, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as one speaks to a friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his young aide, Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent. He stayed there. Now, this really quick thing here, face to face. Let me just go over that really quick. God said, you're going to see it. You haven't seen it yet. It's coming up in the text here in just a minute, where God will say, no man, no human being, no one can look at my face. No one can see my face and live. You'll see why in a minute. So when it says in the text that Moses spoke to God face to face, it simply means in his presence, direct presence. So God would make his presence known by a pillar of fire or a cloud or something like that. And he would come down in this pillar of cloud and rest on the tent where Moses was. And it's not that Moses got to look in his face, because it would have killed him. You can't look. That's divine perfection. You cannot look into the face of God. You cannot. Not this side of eternity. When you die and you are in eternity, sure, absolutely. You can converse as one human being does to another. But right now, in our fallen state, if we were to look on God face to face, it would kill us on the spot. No one can see God and live. So when it says Moses spoke face to face, it just means that God's presence was there and they exchanged words. Now, you'll see Moses wanting to see his face in a few minutes, and you'll see what the answer is. All right. Let me jump over and see the answers to some of these. All right, here we go. Judy says, morning with coffee on the swing. Okay, there you go. Penny, get most mornings at 3:30 a.m. for my quiet time in my sitting room before anything can interrupt it. I have set aside time, but I pray throughout the day, conversational prayer. Yep, I can attest to that. I've seen it. Lauren, I just usually just pray anytime throughout the day. I can't really do this without help, but I think it would be great to pray outside, obviously not in the winter. Yeah, don't go out in the winter. It's really cold and nasty. Kevin, yep. Oh, I know what he's talking about. Yeah, he was there at Lakeside. Gino and Tammy, we pray together every morning and evening. I cherish our prayer time together. I love that. I love that. They've been married for what, 500-600 years? A long time. All right. Kevin, Holy Spirit, big time at Lakeside. So you remember that. Yep, you were there. One of my youth group kids 25, 30 years ago. He remembers that. 25 years ago, roughly. Linda, first thing in the morning, always before a meal, and sometimes when I'm driving. Yep, I've done that so many times. People think I'm crazy. I'm talking like to who? What? Who? To the invisible man? What? People look at me in traffic and think that I'm nuts, but that's all right. Greg, favorite place is at home. Favorite time is in the morning and before bed. Awesome. Gabriel, what's happening, buddy? Good to see you. Pat says, anywhere and anytime. I talk to him many times during the day. When I pray out loud, I tend to cry. I'm trying to work on not crying as much. It's all right. The Lord loves a contrite heart. Gabriel, love to pray standing up, walking up and down in my closet. All right. Raise them up, Lord. Deborah, I used to have a prayer closet, but now all times during the day. Understood. Yep. Gabriel says, I love to pray more in the midnight, though I pray anytime. That's so cool. Penny says, you and I pray every day together before I go into work, praying for each other as well as for others. Yep. Everybody in our family, we'll pray before we start the day. It's just very important, at least to all of us. Everybody prays here before we start the day. Tammy, I pray as I drive or when I have insomnia, little things I see throughout the day that remind me of people I love or rough circumstances jog my memory to pray for those people and situations. I sometimes pick a random person in a store or beside me in traffic to pray for. They have no clue. That is cool. I've never done that. Wow, I learned something new. Never tried it. I think I might. All right. So guys, prayer is good. Prayer is conversation with the Lord. It's really how you get closer to somebody. Imagine if you were in a relationship with somebody that you loved. Let's just make it, for now, let's make it platonic. So not like someone that you marry. Let's make it a platonic friend. In other words, there's no intersex tension. There's no, nothing of that, nothing like that. Let's make it like the closest platonic friend that you have, male or female, like the closest person you have that you're not intimately attached to. You know what I'm saying? So somebody you love to spend time with, and they're just like, man, I just love being around them. Now imagine how difficult it would be to have a relationship with them if you never communicated with them. Like you didn't text, you didn't Facebook, you didn't send email, you didn't call, you didn't talk face to face, or if you, like I said, if you can't, maybe you text. But anyway, when you care about somebody and you love them, and I'm not talking about in an intimate way, I'm talking about just like love between people. You want to communicate with them, because if you don't, you lose track of that friendship pretty quick if you don't stay in regular communication with one another. So the same thing holds true with the Lord. We love him. He loves us more deeply than we could ever imagine or comprehend. And he wants us to speak to him. He wants us, and if we can't do it with our mouths, we can do it with our mind. We can do it with our heart. But either way, he wants that communication. So if you're a person that you deal with, like, certain people I know that are in this room, you can't say things with your own mouth, but you can do things in your heart. You can do things in your mind. If you want, you can write them out somehow. But God just wants that communication, and it can be from your heart. It's really important to take care of that relationship, and you wouldn't stop communicating with somebody that you cared for or that you loved. There may be times with people that you don't talk to them every single day, but when you do talk to them, you make up for that time. But with the Lord, he wants us to talk to him daily. He wants us to communicate, to worship, to praise, and however you can do that is what he expects from you. There is no such thing as if you don't do it this way and check this box that it doesn't count. That's not true in the least. It's whatever way you are able to communicate with God. That's what he wants from you. He wants your heart. I love that. All right. Last question. Because not a whole bunch of text tonight, but the last question we have for the night is this. What is something that you would love to see? And I'm trying to really clarify this word, a thing. So it has to be an object or a destination or a place. That's what I'm talking about. So we all have things we would like to see, like we would love to see our family come to a deeper relationship with the Lord. I get it. That's not what I'm asking you. So if Don't go there, because I get that. That's not what I'm asking you. The reason why I'm not asking you that is the Israelites are going to go on a long, protracted journey to the promised land. So it's a place, it's an object on a map, it's a place, it's a destination. And many would love to see it, some will not, some will. So what I'm saying to you is I want you to put yourself in their shoes. So that's why I'm saying, please don't over spiritualize it. I'm not saying, oh, I would love to see so and so get saved. I agree. I would too. I would love for this family member to have a deeper relationship. I agree. I would too. Not what I'm asking you about. What is a place, like a thing, an object, a place, a destination, something like that? Like some people, I knew a guy a long time ago at the gym. His big thing was he wanted to see the Grand Canyon. I remember that. I've never seen it myself other than in pictures and on the Brady Bunch. I've never driven to it. But that was a big thing that he wanted to see. He wanted to see the Grand Canyon. I'm sure he did eventually. I haven't talked to him in years. But I'm asking you, think about the Israelites. They're going to the promised land. That's what they want to see, is the promised land that God promised them. So I'm asking you, what's something like that? That's why I'm saying a thing, something, an object, a destination, a place, something like that. What's something you would love to see? I'll give you some examples of what I would love to see. And some of them are things. Places I would like to go would be maybe one day Jerusalem. But I have this weird, it's not necessarily a phobia, but I have a strange, odd, I don't want to call it a fear, but I have this no desire to go outside of the bounds of the United States. Like, I don't think about that and go, oh, I wish I could go to this place or that. I don't think like that. I know a lot of people do. God bless you. I don't. There's been too many things that I've researched over the years where people can't get back in, or something happens abroad and then they're never seen again. And I would hate for something like that to happen. But if I had to say places or things that I would like to see, I would love to see the Great Pyramids. I would love that. I would love to see the Sphinx. Those are things. Yes, they're a destination. I would love to see things like that, because I'm a history guy. So I'm happy as a clam that I've seen things like Custer's Battlefield, because I'm a history guy. Been there many, many times. So anyway, I like things like that. That's sort of my thing. So if you could go to any destination, place, whatever, and see a thing or something, that's what I'm talking about. Now let's finish off the text and I'll come back and look at your answers. All right. Verse 12. Moses said to the Lord, you have been telling me, lead these people, but you've not let me know whom you will send with me. You have said, I know you by name, and you have found favor with me. And then Moses says, if you're pleased with me, teach me your ways so that I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people. This is in direct response to what God said up here. That he's not, okay. I will not go with you because you're a stiff-necked people and I might destroy you on the way. That's what Moses is responding to when he says this. Remember that this nation is your people. Then Yahweh replied, my presence will go with you and I will give you rest. Then Moses said to him, if your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here. In other words, God, if you're not going, I don't want to go. 16, how will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us? What else will distinguish me and your people from all the other people on the face of the earth? And the Lord said to Moses, Yahweh says to Moses, I will do the very thing you have asked because I'm pleased with you and I know you by name. Now Moses asks the unaskable. He's going to ask the question that no one can ask. Then Moses said, show me your glory. Did you get that? Now show me your glory. Ooh. And Yahweh said, I will cause all of my goodness to pass in front of you, and I will proclaim my name, Yahweh. That's what it says in the original text. In your presence. I will have mercy on who I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on who I will have compassion. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live. That's what I told you earlier. Moses wants to see not just the pillar of fire, not just the cloud, not just the smoke, not just the thundering voice. He wants to look on the face of God. And God's like, listen, if I do that, you're going to die. So I'm not going to do that. Not on this side of eternity anyway. Verse 21, then Yahweh said, there is a place near me where you may stand on a rock. Oh, this is what that old hymn is about. Rock of Ages. When my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft in the rock. That's like a split. If you have a wall of rock and there's like a split in it where you could actually squish yourself in there, that's what a cleft is. And I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Again, this God doesn't have hands. It's God's spirit. So this is anthropomorphic. I explained that the first time. It means using a metaphor for something that is human so that he understands it. Then I will remove my hand and you will see my back, but my face must not be seen. So God is going to show him the radiant, as the Bible in the Hebrew, it's Shekinah. We call it Shekinah glory. He's going to show him the Shekinah glory. That's the radiant, like brighter than 10,000 suns, radiant glory beaming off of God. But he won't show him his face because he will die on the spot. He can't do that. I mean, he could, but then what? Then he's going to kill Moses. And that's the end of Moses. So we can't have that. So with that being said, the question remains, what is something you would love to see? An object or a destination or a place, etc. All right. Okay. Bruce says, I want to witness a UAP, a UFO. UAP is unidentified aerial phenomena. That's the newer version that the United States military uses for what used to be called a UFO. Because a UFO, the reason why they did that is a UFO can be anything that's flying, but they can't identify it. Like, is it a balloon? Is it a Russian MiG? Is it an F-14 Tomcat, which is like an American type, Tom Cruise, highway to the danger zone type of thing? Anything that flies, like let's say this is really stretching it, but let's say you're sitting on your back porch and you hear this sound, and you look up and it looks like it might be a helicopter that's flying by, but you don't hear the of the helicopter blades, but you think it might be a helicopter, but you don't know for sure, but you see a light, which is usually what helicopters have, the little searchlights and things like that, and it's moving about the right speed, but you don't know for sure. Well, technically, that could be an unidentified flying object. That's why they're now using UAP, because rather than just a flying object, it's now an unidentified aerial, meaning up in the sky, phenomenon. So something that doesn't seem natural. Phenomenons are things that don't seem to be natural, or they're outside of nature. They're supernatural. If they're not supernatural, then they seem to at least defy what we know about nature. That's why it's called phenomenon. That's why something that's a phenomenon is not normal. If something is, I used to know somebody that used to say this all the time. Oh, that's phenomenal. They would say that about everything. Well, not everything can defy definition of nature, which is what it means to be a phenomenon, roughly. I mean, it's deeper than that, but you could easily construe it to mean that. So that's why they call it a UAP, which is an unidentified aerial phenomenon, instead of a UFO, which could be anything that's just flying around. You don't know what it is. Could be a kite. All right. Deb says, Israel. I get that. Penny, would love to visit the waterfalls of North Carolina. Would love to go hiking. Yeah, some of our youth group kids. Jordan Finley, he's a pastor now. He and his family are over there. We see pictures of them with their family all the time. Richard, the British Museum in London, heaven. Okay, and Nome, Alaska again. Nome, Alaska. All right, Gino, I would love to see the Tomb of Christ, Jerusalem, and Bethlehem. All right, cool. Pat, the Statue of Liberty. It means so much to me, freedom. I like that. I ain't giving up my freedom. All right, Lauren, I wish I could scuba dive. I would love to see everything under the sea personally. The ocean has always fascinated me. It would be cool to see the Northern Lights too. Let me tell you something, Lauren. If you have access to enough resources, i.e. money, if you have access to enough money, even in the situation that you're in, you could go in what's called a submersible. It looks like a submarine, but it's about the size of maybe, a couple of couches. It's got bubble windows everywhere. People that are in wheelchairs go on those. So you could still do that. So it's not like it's forever out of your reach. So if that's the case, you could see those crazy fish swimming around and whatever else you want to see under there. And if you see the Loch Ness Monster, you let me know. All right, Greg, Ireland and Israel. All right. Ireland, huh? All right, cool. Judy, Holy Land walked the same path as Jesus. I dig that. Peggy, I was so wanting to see the Ark, but we did that last month, so now I need to think of something new. Maybe we'll get a few ideas tonight. Yeah, cool. Faith says, seeing Bryce and Zion National Parks in Utah, Grand Tetons, and Yellowstone. I've been to Yellowstone lots of times. We used to, for a brief period of time, we lived in Montana when I was a kid. So I've been to Yellowstone a few times. Brenda, I want to go to the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. Yeah, to me, it would just depend on what it is. What is it? I don't know exactly what it is, but sounds cool. Gabriel, I would love to see Mount Everest. Woo, that's cold. I would love to see my friends back then in school, university, and a cicada. Oh, you want to see a cicada? Good Lord. I think Tammy and Bruce have like thousands of them or more. And he wants to see freezing snows. I forgot. That's right. In Africa, you probably don't get a whole lot of snow. What can we do to rectify this? Well, it's almost summertime here. If anybody in this room has access to snow, like you're going somewhere, film it, take pictures of it, something, and let's get it up here for Gabriel. And if anybody has a cicada, take a picture and put it on here. Interesting. All right, Tammy, I would also enjoy seeing the Netherlands in full bloom and walk amongst those massive fields of flowers. Also would love to visit Gabriel in Nigeria and help the congregation build their new church there. They are so deserving. Yeah, that would be great. I didn't even think of that. Gabriel, you are the man. Brenda, Lauren Gross sent a request to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Lauren, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. I don't want to distract from our study, but sweetheart, that's a great idea. And if you can't figure that out, somebody in here will reach out and help you. All right. George, I'd love to visit my relatives in Sicily. Sicilian guys. You know what that means. I won't say it here because I don't want anybody to show up and make me an offer I can't refuse. All right, Darla, wherever George wants to go, and Australia, Japan, and many of the national wonders here in the States like Grand Canyon, etc. That's kind of cool. Judy says, Brenda, I was thinking the same thing also. Okay, cool. Yeah, Lauren, see if you can figure out how to get a hold of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and anybody else in the room that has a little bit of time on your hands, if maybe you want to help her, that would be awesome. I'd love to see that actually happen. As for Gabriel, if you've never seen a cicada, you know what I'm going to do? I have an idea. Let me do an invite. What's Beth saying? We can mail you a cicada. Yeah, they're disgusting. Hold on. I think I have an idea here. Invite. Just a minute. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I think you can only do this on YouTube. I don't know for sure. But let me see if I can post this link. Okay, you guys see this link I just posted here? StreamYard? Here's why I'm doing this. All right. All right, you guys see this link I just posted over here in the comment section? I believe if you're on YouTube, you can use it. I don't think it works from Facebook. Here's what I'm going to say. If you have cicadas nearby, and you can maybe if you have a phone free and you could like show it, maybe you could do that, and we could stream it right here tonight for Gabriel over in Africa. So if you have YouTube, and if you have YouTube, all you have to do is click on that link, and then I can put you here with me on the screen, and then all you got to do is turn on your phone or show us the cicadas that are by you, and we can show it to them tonight. I'm going to leave that up there if anybody wants to do that. So if you see this link, Again, it's over here. It's in the comment section, wherever that's at on your computer. It's a StreamYard thingamajig. If anyone is on YouTube and clicks that, I can bring you into the screen here with me. So I'll leave that up for a minute. If anybody is able to do that, maybe we can get a live, like something for Gabriel. So this would be interesting, because if you're watching on your computer, you could even go out with your phone and take a video and come back and just show it. But anyway, just a thought if anybody wants to do that. All right, let's see. Lauren says, can I do that a second time? I've done Make-A-Wish once as a kid. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Somebody please look into that for her. Maybe Brenda or somebody who's maybe has a possibility of having a little bit of time. Maybe you could look into that. I don't know if you can, Brenda. I'm not volunteering you. Gabriel, thanks to Tammy for showing me cicadas, the way they come up after so many years. Yuck. Yeah, arg. Yeah, they're gross. Gabriel, the best way is to show it on the phone to avoid the expenses of mailing it. Yeah, that was for Beth. Beth was saying we should mail him a cicada. She was kidding. Don't worry. No one's going to send a bug to Africa. I promise you that. Well, I don't think. Maybe Charlie. Who knows? All right, you guys. Well, no one is clicking that link, so I don't think anybody's able to do that, and that's okay. I kind of threw it at you at the last minute. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. I thank you for participating tonight. Oh, wait a minute. What's Penny saying? No cicadas by us. Saw two in my walk at work, but really none. Yeah, none by us. Yeah, there's nothing out here at all. Now, what'd you say? I don't see a link. Hold on. That's the link. It should be. Oh, it's the reason why you don't see it is because you're on Facebook. Remember, I said it only works from YouTube. If you are, if you're on YouTube, it will work, but it does not work on Facebook. I don't know why, but even like big time people that do this, like with thousands of people, they tell you go to the YouTubes and click on it, because you can't. It doesn't work from Facebook. You can call Mark Zuckerberg and yell at him. All right. Brenda says there's dozens of Wish Foundations. Okay, there you go. Thank you, sweetheart. There you go. There's your answer. All right, guys. So what did we learn tonight? Let me go back to the first question. That we all should be praying. That's number one. And many of us have a favorite place to pray. And then there's all kinds of times. Everybody had all kinds of cool things they said about praying. That was awesome. And then the second thing is, what was something you love to see? Everyone shared great things that they would love to see. Big idea here, guys, is that Moses was specific about spending time in the presence of the Lord, as we need to do. And Moses also was leading the people out of Mount Sinai and toward the promised land. That's the promise. And so it's a place, it's a destination that they want to see, because it's a promise of God. So, hey, how's it going?
Hey, Dad.
Want to be on TV?
No.
She always says no. Love you. All right. So anyway, the last question was about things that you wanted to see or places you want to go, because God was sending the Israelites to the promised land. That's why I was asking you, what's someplace you would like to go, some things you would like to do. All right. Let's see. Brenda has something for, wow, she's fast. Okay, I hope you're looking at this, Lauren. Kids, Wish Network, Sunshine Foundation, oh my gosh, I'm not going to read them all. There you go. So if you have a nurse there to help you out, there you go. Or catch Brenda. I'm sure she can help you out. All right, Gabriel says, finally, I would love to see Jesus at the rapture soon. Yes, sooner than better. Agreed. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and wrap up in a word of prayer, and then I will let you guys have your night. So join me in prayer if you would. And then I'll check the messages afterwards, but let's pray. God, I thank you for this time. I thank you for this great evening together. I love our Tuesday nights online, and I pray that you would now bless all of those that are watching and listening. I pray that you would give them your favor. I pray that you would give them peace. I pray that you give them restoration where things are broken, and healing, especially for those that are sick. God, I just pray now in the name of Jesus that you would move in mighty ways in all these people's lives. And I thank you and I praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. All right, guys, here we go. Do me a favor before you take off, jump over to the comment section. Say goodnight to everybody. Got a ton of people tonight, too. both on Facebook and on YouTube. And it looks like I have quite a number of anonymous YouTube watchers as well tonight, which is interesting because I get a little statistic up here in this corner. I get a statistic so I can see basically how many people are on each platform, which is interesting. All right, Peggy said, oh, Richard, good night. Have a safe week. Don't forget Thursday night Bible study. We don't have Bible study tonight. That's the second and fourth week of the month. That was last week. All right. Richard, oops. I don't know what that means, but okay. Penny says, good night. Linda says, good night. God bless. Thank you, sweetheart. Hey, that big man that you're sitting there next to that you're married to, Dennis, you give him a big hug for me. I haven't seen him in a long time. Love that guy. Peggy, good night. Love ya. Cool. Faith says, good night. Have a blessed week. You too. You and your wonderful husband, Grant. You guys have a good night. Richard says, good night. Pat says, good night. Have a blessed week. I love that. Good night. Oh, that's from Gabriel. Love that guy. Don't worry again. No one's sending you a cicada. No one's going to send you a weird bug. Okay, John, amen. Give me something to think about. You have a good one. You too, buddy. Take care, my friend. All right, George, good night, everyone. By the way, George, thank you for the extravagant work you've done on my instruments. You do top-notch work. Thank you for rewiring. Thank you for changing pickups. Thank you for sanding down my fretboards. Thank you for just everything, man. Brenda, love y'all. Love you too. Greg, good night all. Hope you're doing good, Greg. For those of you who don't know, little Greg here, we love him. He's a handyman kind of a guy. He has his own construction company. He does lots of stuff for lots of people. And he lost his mom not too long ago. So anyway, just be praying for him. Love you, Greg, a whole bunch. Hope you're doing good. Lauren, good night, everyone. Have a great week. Love y'all. Thanks for foundations, Brenda. Copy them in my computer. Excellent. Thank you, Brenda. You are I don't even know. There's no words. You're so valuable. Darla, good night. Have a blessed week. George, my pleasure. You are the man. I'm not even joking. You rock. I don't know how you're not a millionaire yet. All right, Brenda or Beth, good night. All right, guys, I love you a whole bunch. If I miss you, it wasn't on purpose. Have a great night. Be safe. Watch out for cicadas. They can't bite you. I don't think they can eat you. They don't have teeth, but they're kind of big and creepy looking, and there's tons of them. Oh, a couple more people. What do we got? Janelle, good night. And good night to you. Say, give John a hug. And Mark, have a great week. Mark, you and Kathy, hugs all the way around for the family. Tell that wonderful son of yours, he needs to at least, hit me up sometime. Send me a text, hit me on Facebook or whatever. He was one of my kids too. Love that guy. All right. I'll see you later, guys. Have a great night. Be safe and be good to each other. Bye.